All right, we're rolling.
Okay. It is 6:31, and with us tonight is City Attorney Gavin Cull?
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't see that very well. That should be everyone online, I assume. Kim Van Beck, Mike Roth, Patrick Knight, Michael Gary, myself, Bill Lovis, Ben Peters, and Craig Schulte. And with that, we'll move on to open forum.
John's here for an item later.
I figured that, yeah. All right, so with that, open forum is complete. We'll move on to the consent agenda. And I would, I'll just mention it right now. You may have noticed some changes to the agenda. It's stuff that I've talked about for quite a while. And it is also from some of our comments before. There's a few more things we're gonna do too, to change around the agenda. And some of it is just to make sure that things that we are still working on do not get forgotten, or we are thinking about them, or they're on, see where they're at. And then also things like me forgetting to say, hey, Mike, what's your report? And then just going on about my very business. And I looked at about 12 to 14 other cities' agenda schemes to see if I could learn anything different or whatever, and what was sort of more common. There weren't a whole lot that was much I also looked at the league's sample suggestions, but new business, old business is common. It's what the EDA does as well. And then I just thought, before we just said approve consent agenda, but this is an opportunity also to amend or add items to it, whatever. Or if there's items you want to talk about and you don't want them on just the consent agenda, we can move them up and move them down, things like that. So, and if anyone else has any other suggestions or things, the other things that I've asked for, and Patrick will get on next time, is at the bottom that our two primary city goals for the year just sit there in very simple terms, so that kind of stays top of mind for us as well.
Oh, yeah.
As we talked about the importance of that. So there you be. And with that, would anyone like to make an motion for the consent agenda?
I would make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any further questions or discussions? And please note the county's hazard mitigation plan that is done by, Mike Keyport is the leader on that. It's done once every 5 years, right, Mike? And we're at the meetings and went through all of that, so we have said we're okay with it. But it's part of what allows us, if there are issues or problems, to get FEMA involved, things like that. So, anyone? So we're good? All right. All in favor for the approval of the consent agenda as is?
Aye.
All right. We'll move on to new business then. We have our board appointments and our council appointments.
Do we do like,
Page
Do we do like the citizen appointments and then approve those and then do our council appointments?
Whichever you'd like to do is fine. Patrick, that Excel sheet's not in here, right?
If you click on the board packet link, I've
one
attached
that's,
it there as well.
okay.
There's a link.
There's a
in here.
link in the, yeah.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, thank you. See what, we'll do that first then?
I could make a motion for the citizen appointments that we have.
Oh, so go the other direction?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
thought since they were first and
Okay.
they're in there and we have our two. So I would make a motion to approve those citizen appointments of Anna Lemire for the library board and Steve Aldrich for the park board.
Okay. Anybody like to second that?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, any further questions or discussions? Okay, all in favor of the two board appointments?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The other two remaining ones, I think we should do some kind of communications on that, get some interviews, get something out there besides just our weekly.
Yeah, we gotta track down some folks.
Yeah, or if someone knows some people they wanna talk to, but we need to be a little bit more active. I see the county has some openings as well, including their planning commission.
Yeah,
So,
but theirs are by district, right? So,
I don't know that.
is that not true?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll just,
Does anyone else know that?
For which
If
board?
the county's planning commission, is that by district, or is it just to anyone in the county when
No,
they have
I
an
guess,
opening?
I assumed that they did it like, if you're in the first, second,
I don't know.
oh, okay.
We don't have districts, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess
That's
I
what I
don't
was
know.
thinking, but we wouldn't necessarily be in competition then.
I think it's
Oh, got it.
county at large.
Okay. So then we'll move on to the council appointments. This is the. Oh, okay, so this is the one you had, Patrick.
Yeah.
All right, because that's the one with the mistake. The one I sent you does not have me, I'm not part of the ARDC board, that's Michael. That's what we were trying to get corrected the other day.
Gotcha, okay, let me. Wait, the ARDC,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've got Michael on there and the one I'm looking at.
Well, I just switched it.
Amazing. Magic.
I know.
so magical.
And then, did we get that food board added here for,
It's on the bottom. Without anyone.
or,
Don't see it on
I
mine.
don't see it.
Let's see that here.
That's on mine on the bottom, but not on yours.
Let me see.
So you're saying on the bottom line?
Yeah.
What would you like to call that food board?
Food Access Council, I think?
Cook County Food Access Council?
I think that's right. Christina Matson
Oh, right,
runs
I
that.
read about that.
And they've, you know, first of all, part of this whole conversation is, do we wanna review all these, are these all necessary things we should be at? And so we're not at that one, but we should have a conversation about it, we're asked to be at it, maybe we should, I don't know. And I don't remember either, at one point, Arrowhead Transit asked to have a community member on their meeting too, and I don't remember outcome, I believe it was that we, or either that or it was Aaron or Catherine.
I didn't hear that second one. Is it transit, you said?
Yeah, at one point Arrowhead Transit, when they're kind of reorging and whatnot, they had asked if someone from the city could please be on there and help them. And I have this feeling that maybe that was Catherine that was asked to, Carlson that was asked to participate with that, but I don't know. Anyways, that's, and have we heard anything from them at all?
No?
I don't know where they're at either, Bob. Alright, so, yeah, Coconut Food Access Council. How do you wanna start this conversation? Review any of these, or is it gonna be like playing cards and see who wants to switch, or keep? Or how do you wanna do this?
I guess my thought would be that we would just roll with what is, but now would be the time of year when we would switch if somebody was like, this isn't, so we should assume that everybody's gonna keep going unless they're discouraged from keeping on going in whatever they're doing. But I don't know, seems like
Well, I'll
all of
say,
these are.
if somebody's overwhelmed with something and I can pick up something. If that,
Sure.
So it's the local emergency preparedness, we just don't have anybody for that?
No,
or is
that's,
that new?
Bill.
I don't see.
On
it
mine, it
on
doesn't
here.
say
Mine's
anything.
blank, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill
Are you
said
sure?
that last.
Does now.
There it is. Oh, my eyes.
What?
Right? I don't know how
Yeah.
often Mike meets, but
Well, that's one of those ones where I don't like these Zoom meetings that happen in the middle of the workday. It's really hard for me to pull off.
Yeah.
Were they all Zoom? They don't meet in person? Or just, that was just the only option for you? Was to Zoom?
I think they're mostly Zoom.
yeah, when I went to those, usually they didn't bother to all go to the courthouse. And I don't know if that's because they're so scattered, like Mike's usually out in Portage.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are other places as well. But they also didn't meet very consistently either. So, so do you still want that?
I can pick up the Zoom call.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Would you be interested in the North Shore Management Board?
How does that meet?
No, that is good. We are just finishing up a huge bit of work and I have a meeting tomorrow because we're redoing the plan and that will be coming to the city and we have to relook at that and we have to look at it in terms of our planning and zoning. But it's typically a quarterly and we meet in the evening. So tomorrow night, for instance, it's I think 6 to 8. And locations vary up and down the shore, but if you have to, we'll include a link too. But like tomorrow night, I was supposed to be down in the Duluth Township. I'm not going to for a bunch of reasons, but that's where they'll be. We were here not too long ago. It's in the two harbors, Silver Bay. We just kind of rotate. Probably go up to Portage. So if you're interested in that.
I'd say there's a lot of crossover between the planning commission and the North Shore Management Board too, so it might make sense to have a counselor do both.
The one thing, and I'll tell you where they're headed now, and this plan is complete. One of the larger items they're going to be focusing on is their future, how to be financially solvent, and what purposes they're going to have going forward. They don't want to give this up. We are the only lakeshore in the entire state which has its own management board. Everything else is run by the DNR, and it's not something that they want to give up, and they shouldn't. That said, and we've spent just a little bit about time about figuring out other. They've always kind of been in the background, and they shouldn't be. And then also some financing, because usually they just do it based on fees. So the city pays a fee, everyone pays a fee, and the ARDC does all the management behind the scenes. But
Well, I could be an alternate if you did wanna take it and you couldn't make something, cause it sounds like if there's travel involved and who knows what.
Yeah, I guess one of my obstacles is rotating call for 1 week at a time, every third week. And you can't be far away, 15 minutes.
okay, I mean I can keep it if no one wants it. The other thing is we can't delegate this. I'd love to say, hey Shane, maybe you'd be interested in this, but we have to have an elected official. And we also are running into problems with quorums. So we've had a really huge conversation about attendance.
So, priority.
Yeah. So, however you guys want to do, if you want to think about it and come back, and we can move on to something else. Anyone else have some changes they want to make?
I'm curious about the Food Access Council. I haven't really, do you say anything more about it? Or are you gonna look it up?
I don't go, I can forward you the emails I get.
Okay. But you think somebody should be there?
They have asked for somebody from the city, and of course, we had this in reference to Bill with the active living steering. And that, they asked for this, and we explained that you do this during the weekday. You have fairly long meetings, and it doesn't work for most most of our council,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we aren't really set up to do that. Granted, she sends out good agendas and very good notes, so we can track things, and if there's something, a topic or whatever, we can certainly prioritize going there if we don't feel we can make it, or if it's something you think you could do. But I believe, like all of those other ones she runs, they're due during the day.
Mhm.
Let me look at the. So, do you want to think about that too? Can't see what time they met, but it's not in the evening. I know that. Okay. Or there's a question: do we care if someone goes? Do we just want to walk? You know, get this monitor it?
Yeah, I don't think I could take that on as another daytime meeting.
Yeah, for me, like, the tree board and animal rescue work very well because they meet in person in the evening, and with the tree board, they hammered out the time and date, you know, in the previous meeting or leading up to it, so you could select. So it was always at a time where everyone could make it, or the majority, you know, usually later in the day.
Yeah. Okay, the meeting last week for the Food Access Council was at 1:30 to 3, so it was like an hour and a half.
Mhm.
I think they have a regular time, I just haven't paid attention to it. But yeah, that makes sense. You got stuff that works for you, your schedule. Okay.
Yeah, but like to say the active living one, it's like a 2-hour Zoom, like right in the mid-morning part of the day, and it's a hard spot for me to sneak away from.
Sure. Is this a deal, Mike, where someone on staff could just be getting these agendas and meeting notes and then seeing if there's things we should be?
Sure, that, as a matter of fact, I'd
Participating
recommend
in.
it. I'm not sure what the value they're looking for us to add is to this group, so
Mhm.
it might be worth us going to a meeting or two and see if we can figure that out.
Kind of just watch what their items are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
All right. You got Airhead and Rescue. We don't have anyone for C Club, right? Do they meet? They must. They have a director, right?
I don't believe so.
Oh, they still don't have a. Okay.
Not sure.
All right. Would that be something Shane would go to if they did? Or
He
if
has been, yeah, so in terms of, we've got that connection at a staff level still.
Okay.
I don't know that there's been anything where you would need to go for some time, and they can always come here and talk to the whole council if they do have an issue.
Okay. Downtown Business Coalition, I've been going, you've been going very regularly, Mike.
Yeah, now that they've eaten our office building, it's kinda easy. I like that.
You know,
And some people dial in too, I do too sometimes. Unless someone has a huge desire to go to those. Ben Northhouse,
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I can stay on it. They changed their meeting times, which now it favors my attendance, which would be helpful. You don't do that frequently, so I'd be happy to stay on it.
Okay. And, you know, we've been very silent about this, but we still have that future lease conversation coming up, and we do need to get it refocused on, and I don't remember what year is the end of that? It's fairly soon, right?
No,
I thought it was in the next couple of years.
That's in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're getting.
yeah, 29, not sure I'd say it's the end of it though. May not be.
Yeah, that's, it's,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
so.
it's an auto renew.
yeah,
Well, that's why we need the conversation
Gotcha.
before it just becomes an auto renew.
Be happy to put that back on the front burner.
Yeah, because that's something we've all talked about and started working on, and then it's been silent for a while, and it shouldn't be something we wait until it gets to that point again. Community leadership, all of you are invited to that. Hopefully the invite list is now cleaned up and should be current. Let me know if you don't get those meetings.
Okay.
They're trying to have them all be in person now, just they want to be meeting, and everyone's taking turns hosting. This past one I could not attend, I was out of town, but they were up at the hospital.
Okay.
And so everyone's gonna take a turn leading those in location wise.
Okay.
Jana Burka sends out those invites. Okay, that brings us to County Parks and Trails. Craig?
Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And the new contact, which is on my copy, Patrick, is actually Neva.
Okay.
Park Board, Craig?
Yeah, that's fine.
We're good? Okay. PUC?
Yep.
Yep, okay. Safety Committee, is that more of an in-house one, Kim?
Yeah, who's on that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kinda,
Are you on that?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I went through, well, I don't know if you guys do them during the day?
Yeah.
The guy comes up, well, not all the time, but your safety man from the state comes up.
From MMUA.
From MMUA.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
monthly.
It's like 10 o'clock on Wednesday mornings, the last Wednesday of the month usually.
Alright,
I can do it if you can. Wednesdays are pretty good for me. It's up to you.
Doesn't matter.
wanna back up then? And you want like Ben back up? I like that, Ben back up.
I can do that. I am that guy.
And you are gonna be ARDC as you have been. And Library Board?
Yep.
And Plan Commission? Is the Y Advisory Diva meeting?
Yeah, that meeting has changed a lot. In terms of when and what's the composition. I mean, what is its purpose, that kind of thing, so it's changed a lot. And I don't know, and now my wife is gonna be the executive director, so I don't know if I should keep doing that, if that's fine. Their council said it was fine on their side, so I said I don't know, but
Okay.
I
So
think it's
is,
probably fine. I don't think the
'Cause we
advisory
don't
board
really-
actually has any authority.
we don't, I mean, they're just
Supervisor.
reporting to us like,
Yeah, so
here's
it's
what we
probably
did.
useful to have that inside link.
okay.
yeah, and they
Fair
wanna
enough.
hear from the public too, so there you go. But, so is Janet still the right contact then, or is
I
it
don't actually, well, it hasn't,
been her anyways?
I'm trying to think who it is now, I'll have to give you that, and the ARDC one is also incorrect, but I don't know who
That
that
one's
is.
a little old too.
Oh, yeah, that's right, cause Justin's been gone for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, so we need to get all the contacts current.
I'll give that to you, Patrick. Okay.
And I'm going to say that for the CEC, we don't need to go to those
Okay.
anymore. They don't invite me. And there's no reason that Dave
Okay.
has to go. So they did ask me to make just a few edits and changes to that policy, which I promised them I'd look at this month. But I think that's it, so I'm gonna let that be. I will follow up with them though to make sure they've formulated their structure a little bit and become a formal group before we continue to ask them to do what they're doing. I'll let that lie for a little bit. Let's stay with the EDA. So back to the North Shore Management Board, is anyone just,
I can do it.
would like to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go tomorrow
No, I will, because we were reading and proofing everything, you wouldn't wanna, you know what I mean?
Yeah. though.
And
So,
they're going to, we talked about having a better onboarding.
awesome.
So, alright, very good. Local emergency, we went through that. Okay, and the personnel committee, I think we're good with. And it's okay, you said Bill with the tree board. And we're gonna let staff kind of monitor the Food Access Council and the Active Living Steering Committee. We're all set?
Would you say Clayton Beck is the right contact for the North Shore Management Board?
No, and that's not this is not the, this must have been your list, Patrick. Yeah, I'll give you the other one and I will let Travis know tomorrow night at the meeting from
That was my last
ARDC.
Email on the matter.
And, so that they send those things out to you, Ben. Do you know, Wade LeBlanc from Silver Bay or LeBlanc?
Who?
Wade from Silver Bay LeBlanc. Correct
Is
us.
he, Barber?
He used to
He
be,
got oil,
yeah,
North Shore Oil.
North Shore Oil.
Oh, okay. He's been the chair. I suppose they're gonna I don't know if they're resetting or not, but. Okay, well, mission accomplished. I like the North Shore Management Board, it's getting to be a lot of stuff. So, and it's super important, but, it's a good time to do that. All right, thanks everyone. All right, then we're on to the Third Street improvement, the
We
draft
need
report,
to find
right?
an acting mayor first.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I would nominate Craig again. Unless he doesn't wanna do it.
I'm fine with it, it's fine.
Okay. Everyone in favor of Craig as acting mayor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Do we miss anything else? No, okay. Now what you've all been waiting for.
Fee schedule.
Fee schedule.
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, the fee
The
schedule.
fee schedule, but isn't this, we're just putting in this statute, isn't this what we're allowed to do? Right?
This is, when we recodified a few years ago, all fees were kind of spread out in the previous version of the code.
Okay,
And now they live in this section called Chapter 36 Fee Schedule. So
okay,
we're doing two things with this ordinance. One, adding cannabis fees. We added these registrations to a cannabis regulation section, but we didn't include the fees. Now we're adding them. This is for the cannabis registrations, what we are allowed to charge. For the low potency hemp, it's not as much as we could charge, but it is matching what the county is charging.
it's matching what?
What the county is charging.
Okay,
So that's the first thing that's happening, is adding that section 36.05 and then renumbering some of these other ones after it. But some of the other ones after it are also being modified, so all the planning and zoning related fees, which have not been changed in some time, we're increasing those numbers, so you can see everything that used to cost 200 costs 300 now, so that's our variances, our conditional use permits, our zoning amendments. And then things that used to cost 1 are costing 2, a little bit more. Then the building permit fees, which used to cost from $35 to $250 would now be from $50 to $500 depending upon the square footage of the project.
pretty modest.
That's a quick summary of the changes that I'm proposing. Last time we changed, we actually tried to do this is how many hours of staff time and everything else
Okay.
per. These fees would be higher if we did that same analysis today, higher than what I'm suggesting they are. So I think this is just more of a habit building exercise than trying to make these fees exactly correct. They haven't been increased in a long time, they probably should be. We don't want to increase them a whole lot, cause we haven't really talked about the policy behind what the fees ought to be. But we do want to have a review of this ordinance on an annual basis, so we're gonna add it to the list of our first meeting in January, just a quick review. And since this is done via ordinance in our code, it'll take 2 readings if you wanna do it I suppose the last thing that's happening is I'm suggesting we remove the fee for dance permits, because
Yeah.
we haven't actually
I was gonna ask about the dance permits.
a dance permit. Well, not in the 25 years I've been here, we haven't done it.
We've missed a big money opportunity.
There we go.
When the city had its own
Probably because
I
the
think we should
fees.
frame the last one.
Yeah, that's right.
police department, I think maybe there was an idea that if there was going to be some sort of dance happening at a bar, it might require additional, I don't know. The story makes no sense to me, which is why we've never done it. I don't think there's any code in the ordinance other than right here that even talks about dance permits, so it's time for them to go.
Okay, well then.
And if we do, I don't remember how that resolution worked, if we do get our church stay application process, will that actually be picked up through the county then, or would we do that and then give them the money?
Don't know yet.
Okay,
I think probably it would just be collected on their online portal,
okay,
but
okay.
it's a good issue to bring up the fact that this is not something that just can happen at the first meeting in January. You can amend or add or remove or do anything you want to any of these fees at any time where it's appropriate to do that. So things will come up. And it's the cannabis fees, we would have added, I think, the fee right away if there was actually a process where we needed to give these licenses out. I'm just not sure there is even quite yet, other than the low potency hemp ones.
Oh, okay.
So there are, the low
Yeah.
potency hemp is, these are registrations, right, they're not licenses, and we do have a list of folks that are registered. And that transferred from the state to the city this year, so it started, or last year, end of last year. We did renew in October, the registrations for folks in the city, and there wasn't a fee for it that time, and now when the registrations get renewed again, the fee will be $125.
And, not that I wanna go too far down this, but the $125, do we have any reasoning for that? Like, why did they go with that? They just did.
Yeah, you know, this, if we wanna think about what we want to use this money to cover, there is some amount of effort to inspect these registered sites and make sure that they comply with our local ordinances. I don't think we know what that level of effort is yet, so it feels a little bit arbitrary to me still.
Okay, yeah. Cause I was thinking, I thought it was, I mean, it could be 500. Is that?
I don't think there's any difference between our authority when it comes to cannabis and low potency hemp of what we can charge. So it
Okay.
could be 500 for initial registration and 1,000 for renewal, and these are all renewals.
Okay,
So it could be 1,000.
Alright.
If we find that there's a lot more effort involved in the low potency hemp inspections, we'll come back and suggest a change. In the
Okay.
meantime, I think that there's going to be a really stark difference between the amount of effort for a cannabis license and a low potency hemp license.
yeah,
So it makes sense to me that they would be different.
okay, thank you.
Right. Any other questions?
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-01.
Would anyone like to second that?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, any further questions? All right, all in favor of ordinance number 2026-01?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, very good, thanks, Mike.
You'll see a second reading at your next meeting.
Now,
Now, what you maybe all were actually waiting for.
we're to fix.
Quick review of history and just the recent times, not
Okay.
the rest of it. In October, you held an improvement hearing. That was after a few work sessions during last year where we talked about the special assessment process, the steps involved. All that was happening kind of as a general conversation, but also with this project as an example as it was happening at the same time. The Third Street improvement hearing, there were neighbors invited and some that attended. You received comment, you talked about what the assessments might be. You didn't have to decide at that point, you still don't have to decide. But if you want to consider assessments as one of the ways you're going to pay for this project, the next step is this attached draft resolution, which is one that would order the improvement. And so what does it mean to order the improvement? It means we're going to actually hire the engineer to take the plans that they've already done and turn them into biddable documents. We're going to go through a bidding process with our engineers, looking for contractors. There's enough money in this project that we have to use sealed bids as the method to do that. And we're potentially then going to hire one of those contractors and commence with the work. So that you really are only making the decision to intend to do all of those things by ordering the improvement. You still have to hire the engineer. You still have to hire the contractor. You could always decide not to do that if you wanted to. And in this case, because we have a partnership with Petters who has a development agreement to do some of the work that's included on this 2 blocks, we also have to have some kind of cooperating agreement with him to figure out how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, John, we've talked a little bit about what makes sense to us.
Right.
One contractor rather than multiple contractors, one engineer rather than multiple engineers, which is why, one of the reasons why it's a benefit to have John and MSA be our engineer on this project, because they've also been working with Petters for his side of things.
Okay.
But it will take some follow-up agreement, I think, between us and Petters to figure out how the money's gonna flow, how we're gonna divvy up costs, stuff like that. And I don't have any reason to believe that will be difficult to come to agreement with them, but we haven't done it yet, so.
Yeah.
Any questions yet? Want to talk a little bit about what state the plans are in and what it'll take to get them to biddable documents, John?
Sure. I have a plan set here, it's stamped not for construction. We had put this together pretty quickly to try to get some IRRB funding. But we're not too far, you know, in the next few weeks, a month maybe, they'll be ready to go. That includes construction specs. And that's all included in that contract that we had approved. When did we actually sign that? Whenever we signed that.
Mid last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that includes all the way through bidding. So we'll take them to bid docs in the next month or so, and then we advertise papers online, et cetera, the standard process that we follow to make sure we're following state law on that. MSA will have an online bidding process, and we open bids at the selected time, and we announce all the pricing, and from there we issue a letter of recommendation for the low responsible bidder, and we have to say responsible.
We prefer them to be.
Yeah. And then we can move forward with selecting that contractor, or the contractor of your choice, and then we'd get into construction, a letter of recommendation for the selection, and then some shop drawing reviews and a kickoff meeting with the contractor, and then we get into actual construction, and then wrap it up after they're done.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
So timeline, if approved, month, you're gonna have bid docs, send out a bid, how long does that take?
To get it advertised, we have to advertise it for at least 2 weeks, probably 3, just to make sure that we're,
Getting all the bids?
yeah. And then it's an online bid, so it's immediate. We just click on each bidder and get the pricing, and then within a few days, we can have a letter of recommendation. So we could have that bid opening February, March. I would think before March, or very early March, we could have the bid opening. Probably even the end of February. And that's a good spot to get competitive pricing. We don't wanna wait any longer than that, if we can help it.
Other questions? Excuse me, would anyone like to make a motion for resolution 2026-01? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
right.
ordinance. That's why. I was like, wait a minute, I just read that number. So this is the resolution.
Yep.
Aha.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve resolution, 2026-01.
Right.
I would second that.
Okay, any further questions or comments?
Just a legal point, because this was not a project that was created through petition of affected property owners. Each of these resolutions requires a 4/5 vote to pass, rather than your typical majority vote.
Thank you, that's important. Clarification. Just want to make sure. So, all in favor of resolution 2026-01?
Aye.
No,
No.
Okay. So that means
That resolution did not pass.
pass.
Yeah. So, what would you like to do now?
Craig or Bill? Any thoughts or comments? Is there something you'd like different or change, or you just would not like to proceed? I think that's the direction I'd like to start the conversation. No comments?
yeah, my comment is, this resolution needs, from what I read here, steps to use special assessments to fund or partially fund this project. Okay.
This is not approving the use of special assessments. That would require a separate hearing and a separate resolution to adopt a special assessment. So if you're saying you don't support that, saying yes to this resolution still allows you to say no to the assessments and have the improvement move forward. So that's one option for you to consider.
Bill, did you have any? What Craig's thinking?
Yeah, I don't like the special assessment because way back in the beginning, we were never gonna do that. And I haven't heard any support from the surrounding property owners for this. So that's my reluctance.
Mm-hmm, that's fine. Does what Mike's comments make any difference to this? Would you like this to go as a project and this is that's the main piece? Or you also don't want this to go as a project? I mean, I'm just wondering if we have a path forward, or is this, the deal, that's all, just.
I guess, if I could just interject a little bit, my ability to say yes at this point was because it does not mean automatically that we're gonna assess, it's just that we could, if it was necessary, or if we knew that it was possible, or that we would need it in order to make the project work. But not that we have to, we're not committing to assessing people by saying yes to this piece. But we're not saying no to the development of Third Street.
And are you going It's my understanding that IRRR has not given a definitive yet,
No, they've said no,
completely.
but
Yeah.
they've said you can reapply, but
Oh, okay.
that wouldn't be in a timely manner for this project.
Okay, I wasn't sure. The last update I had, we didn't have a full comment from them yet. Okay. Does that make any difference or no?
Their triple RD part of it?
No, the other part we were talking about with our options still in assessments, which can be no assessments, a partial assessment, whatever.
Now, and to have the assessment, Mike, would we also need a 4/5 for that if we got to that point?
Mm-hmm.
There's that as well.
Yeah, what?
We would need a 4/5 vote if we got to that
The
point.
assessments.
And we were deciding about assessments, would we do it? We need 4/5 of this council to say yes.
Do you want more time to think about it, or you're through thinking? I mean, that's okay, I just wanna know, so this needs to either move forward or go to bed, one way or the other.
While you're thinking about what you wanna say, also keep in mind we have an approved development agreement with somebody to do a part of this project. To install water and sewer in 2/3 to 3/4 of one block of Third, and to make some improvements to the street adjacent to that. So one option is we don't make any other improvements and we move ahead with that development agreement where there isn't any cooperation, because we're not gonna do anything and he does all of it and pays for all of it.
Which is kind of where we started,
Kind of where we started.
so go back to that, we won't move that up to seventh.
Yeah.
And that will be that. Is that what you'd prefer? It's okay, just like some comment.
Yeah, I guess I remain opposed to it.
Okay. That's fine. Craig, any other thoughts?
But is there anything in here, Mike, that says that, in reading this resolution, what in here says that has to be, or that, is there anything linking this to assessments?
I mean, there's no words in the resolution that talk about assessments,
Right.
so that's apparent, right?
So,
It's
we
required to go through this step if you wanna do assessments.
Right.
It does
But
not
we could-
require you to do assessments.
right, so we could say, yes, we wanna do this improvement without doing any assessments.
You could.
And we would not need 4/5.
You wouldn't need this resolution either, if you wanna just make a different motion to hire MSA and commence with the project and work on it. Yeah, we're not gonna do assessments, then you wouldn't need 4/5, that's right.
Got it.
Well, the essence of this was, and was really mine, is it's not an efficiency to do this now, thinking inevitably things will be developed in this area. But if people don't agree with that concept or thought, and don't care, that's fine too. But that's really what was the essence of this, is this is a time of efficiency and most cost effectiveness to do something which I've decided probably will end up affecting more property owners. If we don't feel that way, then let's just cut this and they can go on with their project. So that's really what this is about. I mean, it's not really the assessments or not. So if that's how you feel, that's fine. Let's just this has gone on long enough, so I would like to have a definitive tonight about what you wanna do. And you said you
Yeah,
don't want.
I feel
you-
it's gone
you-
on long enough.
And you don't want, so that the 1/3, remaining third does not matter. You find just let that go of the block. I'm trying to say that the last piece we were trying to make sure got completed up to 7th is not an issue. And if that's what you guys feel, that's fine. I just would like you to say that, and then we can be done. Or are you, I guess what you just said, there's another path to this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
like, think about that, you know, I would also add, if we were to talk about council reports, that planning and zoning, you know, had I thought a really great meeting, you know, last week, and we did talk about infrastructure in general and a path forward to possibly expanding that and just taking up maybe a 30,000 foot view of the city and where it makes sense and what's highest and best use, and are we in accordance with our goals and values. We wanted infill, maybe that's no longer what we want, I'm not really sure. So just trying to get a better handle on some of those issues. I think this topic of assessments, I would say, I certainly understand that it's not comfortable, but when you don't assess somebody, you're assessing everybody. And so, which to me seems, I think that seems crazy to me, we're improving neighborhoods, we're improving properties, that's what we want to do, this road is substandard, this doesn't seem like a complicated process to me. I don't think it's a huge sum of money that we're talking about, even in the assessment, but I understand you're entitled to your opinion, you certainly have the same vote that I have, so whether or not we wanna do third, I just wanna make sure that we're all aware that it's still an option to do it.
So what do you think, Craig, is the 1/3 not something you feel very strongly about? Is that the other part of this?
What's that?
Not completing that third section, you know, up to 7th is not something you think is a good use right now? Because assessments isn't really the question.
That's part of it for some of the property owners. Part of it for me is I don't even know what we're doing at Third Street. Putting curb and gutter on one side, not curb and gutter on the other side. What's it gonna look like to a landowner on the lower side? What's he gonna have to do to his property to even utilize Third Street anymore? No one's asked those questions, no one's answered those questions. But we go ahead and do it. So I have questions yet that never got answered. From a person who owns all the land on the other side of the road, pretty much all of it. It greatly affects his property. Those talk of retaining walls and stuff like that. I don't know where they are, I don't know what they look like, I don't know the elevations. I don't know what the road's gonna look like when you're done with it, there's a lot of rock in there, does that mean you're filling things in to avoid removing rock? Which basically raises the value, elevations. So, yeah, that's part of it. The other part of it is having a meeting a long time ago about assessments, and we all decided we are not gonna assess. You guys all remember that? Then we came back and had another meeting to put assessments in the faces of these people with actual numbers, what each property owner will be paying. And I got feedback from 3 landowners that wanted to know why we had that meeting, when we already had a meeting previous. So they kind of felt well, you guys are gonna do whatever you wanna do anyway, so what's the sense of us coming to a meeting? Which kind of turned me off. You know, I'm not against fixing up the street. I don't think any of us here are. However, now we're looking at doing improvements to a street that became a priority, even though it never was one. So that's my concerns about some of the construction. I also realized that the north side of Third all the way to Fifth has no curb and gutter.
Right.
The south side does. So, are we doing this right? Should we do it better? How does it affect other landowners? You know, it's kind of like, let's just hurry up and get this. Not that it's hurry up and get this, but I don't think we're looking at, you know, a complete project here. I think we're just throwing something at this. And I don't think we're even making it. How wide are we making the road?
20 feet.
20 feet? What is it now? 14? 16?
16-ish, yeah.
It varies between there, yeah.
Yeah, it does vary.
And that'll be 20 feet from 8th Avenue all the way to 6th.
Yeah.
6.
Are there any other correct questions you can, at this point?
That's all I have. I have, you know.
Sure.
Well,
I can-
say it out loud because you questioned, so then I think all of us need to hear the answers.
Was it?
You had questions, I think all of us should hear the answers, if he has them, about the construction. If you have.
Sure, so, there are no retaining walls. We can,
There are no retaining?
we've determined we can grade it within the right of way. That original report did show some, but no, we don't need any retaining walls. There's a couple reasons for curb only on the south side. And a lot of it has to do with rock. We can stay above, you know, we don't have to cut back into it and then try to create this cut that's very expensive. Water's all gonna wanna come that way anyway, so we capture it on the curb on the south side. That saves some cost for that. The curb will align with the curb that's there on both ends. It wraps now, so we'll tie into that. I'm sorry, did you have another?
So for access, I think, Craig, wasn't that right, accessing the road from the south side?
Well, we're putting curb cuts anywhere that,
The landowner wants them?
if the landowner needs a curb cut, we'll put a curb cut in and they'll have a driveway access.
Okay.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Typically, we do that on every parcel that doesn't already have a driveway, we would add the curb cut there. And then on the north side, we just blend the driveways into the black.
Yeah, you had a question about elevation change, something like that? Was that related to the accident?
Well, elevation change would be related to whether you're gonna cut anything out or add in fill. If you add in fill, you're gonna have some kind of elevation change somewhere. There's a little dip, the road has a dip in it. Then you probably go up on some rock and then it dips again.
And we're, our profile, we tried to smooth out some of those so that we don't have, we're not gonna put in a road that's
Yeah.
doing that. The south side will look different because the curb is there and there's gonna need to be some grading done.
And then all that water is gonna get shunted towards Sixth, right?
Yes.
You'll have to run down the south side and then down
Yeah.
Sixth, which is curved on both sides, 6.
Yeah.
And a block south has storm sewer as well, that goes to the highway,
Where's the storm sewer?
down,
Look by your house,
yeah, below you,
right near your
on the
yard.
newer section.
Okay. Yeah. I was walking out there.
Other construction questions for the engineer? Were those all of your questions, Craig, or we still gotta think through some more?
As far as construction questions, those are the questions I had. Excuse me.
In going back and thinking through, the one thing that, this is a substandard road, we're doing our best to make it a manageable road, and the one thing I did hear from the people living there was the concern already without any development, the condition of the road for cars and people walking, and so this is our attempt to do this better, and I think that was part of the reason we discussed no assessments, because it was simply substandard. And it isn't a large amount of money relative to other construction projects.
Yeah.
And we will see with this more people living there and more traffic. It's not going to stay the way it is. We might as well participate in making some of that change. It's not going to be what it is now. So that's also what sits in the back of my mind on this, and it leads me back to efficiencies of time and money, of something that it will inevitably, I feel, need to be done. Whether I personally want to see any of it change, but
Right.
it's going to. So. Does a better understanding of the construction, does that feel better for you at all in some of that then? Do you think, well, you're speaking in for some of the property owners as well. Do you think that answers some of their questions, Craig?
Yeah, I think it would. It will.
Do we want to rethink this resolution or move forward in another way? Or none at all? Silence is not always golden.
I think the road needs to be done, but I mean, I think my statement on that's been obvious. So.
I mean, and I guess that's it too for me, is that it does seem like it's an opportunity of a sort, they're already gonna tear up the road, they're already gonna be doing the work. We're just joining in and saying like, okay, you're gonna do that, but we're gonna finish it out and make sure it is a decent road. Maybe we won't do, it all super fancy, but it'll be an improvement over what's there now. We're not gonna make it so much bigger, but it'll be better by 6 feet, which, since I drive it every day, yeah, that'll be an improvement. Because you can't get 2 cars past, well, this time of year.
Okay, refresh for me the other path you discussed.
If you don't have the improvement, that path,
No,
No.
if we don't do the assessment.
if you don't do the
we can-
assessment,
We can hire MSA to complete.
yeah, we can just have MSA continue on to develop the plans and do a bid process for us. We've already authorized that work. You don't even have to take any action to continue that. If that's clearly a majority opinion to do that, you could just nod heads and we'd keep working, knowing that the next decision point would be when the bids are received, you'll see the prices, and you can decide if you want to hire it done or not, or if you want to modify it or do something different. Skipping over this resolution, that just means assessments are off the table, which, like Craig said, was the original position on this project and one that was revisited and reconsidered, but you can go back to that too.
I would like to put forward that we take a vote on proceeding that way.
Okay.
Can I, is that simple enough to be said, or do I need to make that more exact?
Do we need a motion for that? Or
I
do we
think
just-
she's looking for clarity, and I appreciate that.
People that put their name on it, yeah.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Yeah, I'd support that. I wanna see the road done.
Okay, Craig or Bill, your thoughts? A yea or a nay?
What did you say, are you
Without
taking,
assessments?
Yes.
are you taking assessments off the table so we don't circle back and have a meeting for assessments again? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we just said.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're not passing this resolution, you're just saying, let's continue.
Well, I mean, I know that was the plan in the first place. However, you left the door open to come back with another meeting to possibly assess, depending how that meeting went. That'll be the third time people have been brought in for a meeting. And we also have a developer's agreement with Petters, but we don't know what he's building.
You don't know what is going to be built on his property, that's right.
Correct.
We don't have any plans for that.
Right. It's kind of interesting. So. And why don't we know that? What's the problem with that?
He hasn't made any land use permit applications.
Okay. So what we do now then is if this passes, MSA goes ahead, you let out the bids, get prices, come back to us. Okay.
We give a letter of recommendation that has an outline of all the bid tabulation of all the bids and the one that we recommend.
Okay.
And you'll get that.
Well, we have,
Okay.
pardon?
No, it's fine, go ahead.
Uh,
I was just starting.
So, there are three of us who agreed that we would like to move forward with this. Did you want to say a yea or nay to that? Or you were about to say something?
No, I don't. Doesn't need a four-fifths vote, does it?
No, I
No.
just, yeah, I just, did you want to say a definitive yes or no to that? Path or?
No, I'm not. Just so you all know, I'm the one that brought up the fact that the street needs to be fixed up, if you remember. And I still think it does, providing the fact of the property that was gonna get developed to the extent that it was gonna get developed, and the number of units that were going in, and the amount of traffic that was gonna go on it. Yes, it needs to be fixed up. But what really bothers me, and bothers the hell out of me, is we don't even know what's getting built on this property. But yet here we are talking about fixing up a street that was not even ever on our radar to fix up. We have a lot of other stuff in this town to fix up. But now this is on our radar. We don't even know what's gonna be built on it. So we're doing this so that we can fill in, right? Infill. It'd be nice to know what we're infilling before we start spending money on fixing up streets. It's too bad that we don't know what's getting built, because we really don't. So,
Well, we did at one time, we saw some plans, we saw some neat plans.
yeah, we did, no, I know that, I know we did. We saw plans and we saw what that was all about, so.
But I don't know. I hear what you're saying, Craig, and I think the only thing I would add is that the road is getting torn up. I mean, he's gonna be doing it anyway. Just feels like, well.
He's doing part of the road.
Right, and we're
Half of the road, and we're paving, if I'm not correct, the other half of the road.
I think quite a bit less than half.
So why isn't he fixing up the whole damn road when he's tearing up the road? That's what bothers me.
Where the water and sewer is currently located, that serves the house on the property is on the north side of the
Okay.
road. His plans, when he presented them, didn't really include much of the pavement being affected at all.
I know that, but when we fix the road and pave it, we're gonna be repaving the whole road.
The whole
We're
road.
not gonna have a seam in that little piece of road that somebody didn't want to blacktop.
Yeah, but if we weren't going to participate in any way in the project, then he wouldn't be fixing up most of the road.
Yeah, oh, I know that.
All right, with that,
Yeah.
we have I believe 3-2. Is that correct?
So we're taking assessments off the table.
Yeah, that's why we brought this back to a vote again, from another direction.
I liked what Ben said about looking from 30,000 feet and figuring out if this is what we want to do with the infill. It would have been really nice if it wasn't so backwards that had already been determined before we got this far down the road on this.
What do you mean had been, which had been determined? The infill was,
Whether you want to infill and where you want it, where you would
yeah,
like to focus your energy on being the most effective to extend utilities and find buildable lots.
Yeah, it was,
I mean, I wish that had been known before this whole Third Street debacle keeps circling round and round and round. Assessments, no assessments, assessments.
Well, it actually was based on our planning and zoning, whether or not we were all very happy about it, but it takes a longer conversation to make those changes. And yeah, I can't say I personally at all cared for the prior plan, but there was nothing in the way our planning and zoning reads, and still isn't. And that's up to us to have those conversations and prioritize it, and we do need to do that. But where we stand right now is this, and if it isn't this property owner, it's going to be somebody. And it's only, to me, 1 or 2 houses on that north side is going to make a difference. That already is on traffic. And if the street was not substandard, I also wouldn't care as much at all, and I would agree with Craig, we have other streets that definitely are, but that's what we said the others, it's just plain substandard. And I've heard that from the people who live there as well, so that's why, either way, I think this is something that we need to do. All right, and with that then, we'll go that direction.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sean.
Thank all of you. This has been, I think, a long but important learning for all of us. And I think it just reinforces the need for us to sit down and have these conversations about how we want development in our city. with such an emphasis on the need for housing everywhere in this county, we need to have some real clarity about how we're going to help and where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I could really say a lot of things about how I feel, but that's the time and place we need to have. I think it needs to be
Can we
prioritized.
segue this into council reports, because that would segue nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had a planning and zoning working session.
But you will recall,
What?
no, our
Is that
change to our agenda means that Mike, as city administrator, is first up.
Well, he can talk about it.
I could,
Or
I
whatever
hadn't
is
intended
on
to,
the
and I'd also be
city
happy to defer if you wanted to.
No, you go, man. Gotta follow our agenda. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna report on things that you're gonna
Okay.
report on in the future. I just wanted to take a quick opportunity to share with you. Might want to look on your own screens rather than the big screen if you want to read this along with me. But this document, which I'll be sending out for your review. Did they all have to join on their own screen?
Is it in the meeting?
No, okay. Well, if you're not joining the meeting, then never mind. What this is a summary document of department goals.
Wait a minute,
Oh, okay.
we're going to do that at the end of the month.
I won't go into detail about it. I just want to let you know that it exists.
Okay.
So like I said, I'll be sending it out. And what we're talking about in these goals are things that are included in the department heads' reviews for their goals for next year. I'm gonna pick two just to give you an idea of what they look like. In the Parks Department, meet and exceed 2026 budget revenue projections and keep expense projections within or under budget. That is a goal in the Parks
Sounds like a
Department.
good one.
It's strangely a goal that we include every year in the Parks Department, and typically they meet it. And then in the Liquor Department, there's one that's a little more involved. Develop marketing plan, bring together efforts started but not finished that include website, social media marketing, merchandising, and have a plan that can be shared with the city council. So that is a goal in that department. Each of these departments has a series of items. Like I said, I'll be sending this document out to you so you can see what they are. And I'll be meeting regularly with the department heads, and quarterly we'll take a look at this list, each of them, and just have a formal look and see where they're at, what's going on, what needs to happen. But these are the things that we're also just sort of talking about all the time as we meet. So we won't give a formal presentation of that
Not till next week,
next time,
or next meeting,
2 weeks from now.
yeah. I didn't see it on the list, so I thought you weren't ready yet. So I told
Well,
Patrick
it wasn't
we'll
ready
be
on
with it.
Thursday last week,
Okay.
and so, but I figured I'd just add it because I have a place on the agenda now that says
Yeah.
administrator report.
Do you have other stuff?
I want to give a couple of scheduling updates. Come the first week in February, I'm currently planning on attending a public financing seminar that Ellers puts on every year that may affect the first Wednesday meetings, so that's the PDC and Planning Commission. So if that's the case, and my attendance is we'll be reaching out to you about rescheduling those. And then we're starting to get notices from all of our organizations that we're joining, and I'll be sending out some of these in summary form to you about their legislative day at the Capitol this season. I think I've got 5 of them now that we've been notified of, whether it's Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails, or the League of Minnesota Cities, or the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, or Duluth Days, or everybody wants their bite at the apple. Sometimes they're even on the same day. And I'll be making an attempt to get to multiple of them, and I'm hoping that I will be joined by a few of you as well in those efforts. Our number one priority this year is wastewater plant. And our number one most important funding source for that is currently the state bonding bill. So we need to stay on top of that. And I appreciate your help keeping that happening. So that is it for my report.
Thanks. Yeah, I have asked Patrick and Alyssa to put together that annual review thing that we've been doing the last 2 years and noting employees and departments, and we put it together with UOP's department goals along with a congratulation look back from last year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I don't have a pen and I'm going to forget, I'm going to go next just really fast because otherwise I might forget. So on the Capital Days, I have signed up to go with our chamber members and to go down there in mid-March. I've all registered and all set for that, which is why I asked you if you could attend the EDA meeting because you're the guy. Yeah. If that works, if they give you enough notice.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to do as part of our whole cleanup for the year and get ourselves organized is calendaring any meetings we might need to change. I did a quick peek. The only one I noticed was once again Thanksgiving that we might want to reset because that always lands on that before. So it would be, if you wanted to do that a couple days beforehand, let's just say that it's now and switch it. Christmas didn't seem to be a problem this year. The 30th ends up being the last meeting day, so that might tie into when we normally do things, right, Mike? In December?
Yeah.
Stay with that.
I think we'd probably want to move that to the 23rd,
Okay.
but we
That'd
can
be
revisit that. I think so, yeah.
Okay. So Patrick, can you do that then? Get that one to December 23rd, and then November. Is Thanksgiving better to do Tuesday or Monday before then?
Tuesday or Monday, and just think
Is
about
that
how the last couple of years have gone.
Better? Okay. And then after that, I didn't see any holidays or something that, the rest are like legal Mondays or whatever. 4th of July doesn't bug it. I don't know. But if we could get those done, we wouldn't have to think about them. Okay. Yesterday, Chris Lindholm, superintendent, sent out a note to a group of various leaders in the community asking if we could put together a communication plan around any potential ICE activities in our community. So, because I had the time, I organized that meeting for today. We had hospital, clinics, schools, county, Portage, and chamber in the room today.
Was the last in there?
Yes, remotely. We had remote and in person. So Pat was there as part of the county, several county members. The county had just coincidentally had their own meeting the day before that, so they gave their summary. And then both communications, so Patrick was there and Danielle, who's now the county and hospital communications person. They will be leading up the communications piece of what we set forth. We also shared any known guidance that have been provided. For instance, Kimber has had just earlier in the day had 2 hospital association meetings with their broader regional state groups on that. And so we got that all set up. One of the purposes of that is, of course, the rumor mills go rampant. We wanted to make sure that everybody felt they were dealing with real information, so everything will be screened through the sheriff's office. And if there's anything of validity, it will be passed through the communications that Patrick and Danielle set up, and will go to leaders, and it will be up to them to set that down to their staff as appropriate. And then it was very interesting to hear that most of those organizations already had for some time very clear guidance about what to do, so it's not a complete new learning for any of them. And then it was also interesting to hear some of the various issues that different organizations have and ways they're handling them. For instance, the school already has a process if for some reason a student cannot attend school, medical, whatever, they have a process to handle that, and this can be incorporated into that. Things like that that don't maybe done in the rest of us about how to deal with things. And so that's that. I don't think we have another plan to meet, but it was mostly to make sure that we are just communicating well, and also a consensus that conversations with the media would be very, very limited, if at all, or encouraged to be so. So there was that, and then night before last, later into the evening, in a cooking frenzy, my phone rang and it was Amy Klobuchar. And we played telephone tag. And Amy wanted to let me know that the $1 million that she's having allocated to our wastewater treatment plant, which she had previously communicated, is to be voted on sometime this week. And so when the check's here, we'll think about
Yeah,
that.
okay.
But I gave her a very much appreciated thank you and said we had our continued efforts going forward. So I think that's it.
Great. Can I go now?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, we had a great meeting. Let's hear from Ben. It was a work session with Mr. Ross here, as well as Patrick, as well as Jeff from the HRA. All talking about how we can best plan out both infrastructure for the town, looking at best uses of the Planning and Zoning Commission so that we can provide good and useful help, guidance to the council, and really started to take a look at like how can we do that, how can we really plan out our future, looking at maps, looking at different areas, and then also thinking about concretely like what are the areas that we can really provide help and really start looking at. And of course, the biggest thing is we can affect those zoning rules, things like that. That really helps. But it was great to have everybody there and participating. It's unfortunate that we won't have Stacy around, but we'll find another person to get into that role. But it was great. It was very robust. And I thought, Ben, you have more?
No, I think that was really good. It was interesting. We do the I don't know, I call it the Post-it game or whatever, but like, and everybody had different ideas, and you just rapid fire ideas out and brainstorm or whatever, and everybody's kind of. You think you have your priorities, right? And then you listen to what everybody, you're like, oh yeah, no, that's really is the priority. That should be the priority. So you're realigning, as you going through this meeting, and it was really cool. Like really looking at how can we facilitate better partnerships? What can those roles be? Our role can't be about finding money all the time, right? Although that's always the sticky point with doing any project. So how do you put the best pieces, the skills to use, right? Who's best at doing that? How do we incorporate Jeff into that conversation? How do we bring the county in, or how do we, talk to whomever we have to, right? Yeah, so I'm excited to see where it evolves and where that goes. It's a good use of that meeting when you don't necessarily have another agenda item, right? And so this is, as we were talking earlier, like, yeah, we want to make sure we're meeting regularly, and even if we don't have, a variance request or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good, yeah. And Anton Moody was there as well. Just wanted to round out the people that were on.
So a quick follow-up, we are invited by the HRA to sit as both council and planning commission with their board and talk about, I guess, similar things, but how best to move forward. And they're looking for some ideas about dates that might work for you. And one suggestion I've got that we could pitch to them is we could use your scheduled work session at the end of this month as a joint meeting opportunity. If that makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Is that the
The 28th.
28th?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Mr. Library and ARDC and.
ARDC is tomorrow, library is next week.
Okay, alright.
The only thing I have is AAR, and it's pretty stale, cause the meeting is tomorrow.
Oh,
But, and I think Mike is aware, they're trying to figure out how to get their building successfully completed, and they're wanting to talk about foundation ideas, options, and contractors.
So I'm not going to that meeting.
Right.
I made that clear. I don't have anything to add right now, but I also have a scheduling conflict, so. My report back to them, and it's really the same for you, is we've taken over the responsibility for talking to contractors, gathering prices and such. And when that information is compiled is really the next time it's worth sitting down and talking about this at all. So won't be tomorrow, probably not for a few weeks at least.
okay, as long as it still sits in that direction.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Chisholm last Thursday to IRRB, and there's a meeting there headed by a group called MHP, which is Minnesota Housing Project, and they were talking about messaging, largely around housing, but I guess it could be anything, but when municipalities have projects, sometimes they're not popular, sometimes they're in the neighborhoods that people don't want them, or you have difficult conversations, how to message that, specifically with housing, right? I think there's a number of, it was interesting, all these different, I mean, we were clearly the furthest away from the range, and this was for the range, but they all had similar stories about housing and trying to get these projects completed, and they had common themes where neighbors were like, well, you know, of course we want housing, but we don't want it here, or not that type of housing, or what are, you know, you're gonna hurt my taxes, or you're gonna raise assessments on it, or whatever, right? And so, how do you have that conversation and bring it back? And the focus was really on what are the shared values that we all kind of have as human beings and community, and trying to figure out, well, yeah, it might be true that, you know, it's not maybe perfect or change is hard, but, you know, we have to grow. This is a perfect place for homes, right? Like, what does that mean? How do you put a value on that? And so there's different strategies for that. I thought it was good. It wasn't what I was expecting, but it was good. It was super well attended. I think there was probably, there had to be 100 people in that room, and from mayors to council members to HRA directors across the range. And so it was a lot of, it was nice people, good people, lots of handshakes, and so. Great. Everybody loved Grand Marais, of course.
Thanks a lot for going over there.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
out of town, and I just really think it's important for us to kind of get over there and meet and greet a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed
more.
it. It was something I do again.
So thank you. I know it's kind of a long drive in the wintertime across
It's-
there.
It's a long one, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, good. Anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
Hey, Craig.
We didn't have a park board meeting, so I don't have anything.
Anything Parks and Trails? Meetings.
Yeah, we met, gosh, last month. I think it was, first part of. Am I going back to October? I can't remember. Jeez. We had a meeting. There was a lot of talk about the land that the county owns. And they're pursuing through HKGI some work to look at that land. And they have some PILT funding for recreation, designated for recreation use And so they're gonna use that money to do type of master plan like we did for the park on that. So it's kind of in the preliminary stages right now. To get some different ideas of what they possibly can do with that property. Then of course with that comes public engagement and that kind of thing too, so. That's kind of what we talked about. And that was the last meeting we had.
I think the county's still,
December 16th was that meeting.
okay, yeah. They're still looking for some clear indication from the city of what our participation is going to look like in that
Right.
project.
Right.
And my recommendation to them was they need to come with a concrete ask so that you have something to answer rather than come up on your own. So I would expect 2 potential asks in the near future. 1, to financially participate in that study, and 2, to revisit the joint powers board concept to manage that property with an actual draft agreement to look at. So stay tuned to that.
Okay.
Is that everything?
Yep, so
All right. Hey, we're done. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.